Hello everyone, welcome to APTIPLUS, the Academy for Civil Services. Today we are here to discuss the important MCQ series for the West Bengal Civil Services. And this is part 1 of the Polity and the Economy subject. Before starting on to the MCQs, let us understand what are the learning objectives of this approach. Here we will be covering the most probable question for the West Bengal Civil Services pre and mains exam. And these questions are framed on the themes on which previously questions have been asked. Here we will be covering the maximum MCQ in the minimum time. This will also improvise our score in both pre and the mains. Let's see the questions. Which of the following is not a function of Speaker of the Lok Sabha? A. Preside over the meeting of the Lok Sabha. B. Decide on the admissibility or the bill of the motion. C. Represent the President in the Lok Sabha. D. Certify the money bill. Here we can see with respect to function of the Speaker, all the three except your option C are the functions of Speaker of the Lok Sabha. So answer is C, represent the President in the Lok Sabha. This is not the function of Speaker. And with respect to money bill, we should know that Article 110 defines our money bill. Now moving ahead, let's see the explanation. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha has several functions, including presiding over the sessions, maintaining the order in the House, deciding on the admissibility of the bill or the motion, and certifying the money bills. So, हमारे Speaker special function है, only which Speaker does is certify whether a bill is a money bill or no. And the Speaker represents the House of the people, that is your Lok Sabha, and ensure its smooth functioning. Let's move on. Which of the following articles of the Indian Constitution provide for the establishment of the Finance Commission? And answer is A. Article 280. See here, other articles are also mentioned, but only Article 360 is important, except Article 280. We should know with respect to Article 360, it is a provision of financial emergency. And with respect to Finance Commission that have been asked in the question, we should know Finance Commission is appointed by President every 5 years or even earlier. And the function of the Finance Commission is to recommend. It just recommend. Its recommendations are not mandatory. It recommends about the distribution of net proceeds of taxes between center and the state and amongst all the states. So let us see the explanation. So it is established under Article 280 by the President every 5 years, and its responsibility is to look over and recommend the distribution of the proceeds of the tax between center and the states and among the states themselves. Moving ahead. Who has the power to remove a judge of Supreme Court of India? A. President, B. Parliament, C. Chief Justice, D. Prime Minister. Here we can be confused between President and the Parliament. But actually, it is the Parliament who can only authorize the removal of a judge of Supreme Court or even High Court. So your answer is B. Parliament. It is President who just puts the stamp on the process that have been finalized by your Parliament. So let's see the explanation part. Judges of the Supreme Court can be removed from office by impeachment, which requires a special procedure. There is a special procedure mentioned under Article 124 of Clause 4 in the Indian Constitution, which tell us how a judge of Supreme Court or High Court could be removed. So the proceeding with respect to such procedure can be initiated in the either house, whether Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, and it should be supported by a majority of the member of the house. And this majority is 2/3 majority of the member present and the voting. That is your special majority. The president can remove a judge only after the completion of such impeachment process. Moving on, which of the following are eligible to be elected as the President of India? A. Person who is a citizen of India and has completed 35 years of age. B. Person who is a citizen and has completed 30 years. Person who is citizen of India and completed 40 years of age, and person who is a citizen and has completed 45 years of age. So your answer is a person who is a citizen and has completed 35 years of age. These are the requirements for a person to be elected as president in India, and this requirement is mentioned in your article 58. So what are the three requirements? That the person should be citizen, and he or she must have completed 35 years of age, and he or she must be eligible to become a member of Lok Sabha. Along with that, it is also written that the person should not be disqualified from being a member of Lok Sabha for any reason. So there are three conditions mentioned in your constitution. Moving ahead, fundamental duty was added in the constitution by which amendment act? 42nd Amendment Act 1976, 86th Amendment Act 2002, 68th Amendment Act 1991, 52nd Amendment Act 1985. So your answer is A, 42nd Amendment Act. See, there are two options which can confuse you. So fundamental duty per se as a provision for the first time was added by Amendment Act of 42nd. This act was brought in on the recommendation of Swaran Singh Committee's report. So we should also remember that Swaran Singh Committee report is very important, जिसके बेसिस पे 42nd Amendment Act लाया गया था इंदिरा गांधी एरा के टाइम पे. And this act included two provisions. One is the Article 51A and other is Part 4A in the Indian Constitution. Let's see the explanation. 42nd Amendment Act Part 4A and Article 51A, and इस Article 51A के अंदर 11 ड्यूटीज मेंशन है. सो हमारी फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज कितनी है? 11 है, and these apply only on the citizens, not on any other person residing in India. So ये 11 ड्यूटीज में जो 42nd Amendment Act से आई थी, those are only 10 duties. The last duty, 11th duty, was added by 86th Amendment Act in 2002. And the entire duty concept is inspired by USSR or Soviet Constitution. This also we should remember. Now moving ahead, which of the following is a primary objective of monetary policy in India? A, to regulate the government spending. B, to control the inflation and stabilize the currency. C, to regulate the tax rates. And D, to increase the GDP growth. अब इस क्वेश्चन को कैसे अटेम्प्ट करेंगे? See, government spending या tax rate or to increase the GDP growth is the main target of government of India. And inflation control करना and economy stabilize करना ये कुछ अलग सा लग रहा है, and this is the main target of your RBI. And RBI is responsible for the monetary policy, and monetary policy से हम inflation targeting करते हैं. And there is another policy, fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is the instrument of government of India through which it regulates the government spending, tax rate, budget, increase the GDP growth. So your answer is B, to control the inflation and stabilize the currency. Let's see the explanation. Monetary policy helps to control the inflation and stabilize the currency. It is the prime objective of RBI. Moving ahead. The fiscal deficit is defined as the difference between A, total revenue minus total expenditure of the government, total expenditure and the revenue from the taxation, total borrowing and the total tax revenue, total borrowing and the total government expenditure. Your answer is B, total expenditure and revenue from the taxation. So let us see the explanation. Fiscal deficit is the difference between the total expenditure of the government, including its interest payments, and the total revenue. कितना सरकार के पास पैसा जाता है और कितना आता है, उसके डिफरेंस को जाने में आपका ब्याज की पेमेंट्स, द इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट्स, उसको भी इंक्लूड करेंगे. दैट इज इंक्लूडिंग इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट्स, जो सरकार को ब्याज देना पड़ता है किसी भी लोन पे, वो भी एक्सपेंडिचर में काउंट होगा, माइनस द टोटल रेवेन्यू। इस रेवेन्यू में से हम बोरोइंग एक्सक्लूड कर देंगे, जो सरकार ने पैसा उठाया है उधार पे उसको माइनस कर देंगे। तो एक्चुअली में आपका जो फिस्कल डेफिसिट है वो बताता है कि सरकार की कितनी टोटल बोरोइंग रिक्वायरमेंट्स है। तो ये भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है। तो फिस्कल डेफिसिट क्या है? सरकार का कितना नेगेटिव में सरकार चल रही है, जितना नेगेटिव में चलेगी उसको पॉजिटिव करने के लिए सरकार को बाहर से पैसा लाना पड़ेगा। तो फिस्कल डेफिसिट रिप्रेजेंट्स योर टोटल borrowing requirements also. Now moving ahead, which of the following is a policy measure that Reserve Bank might use to counter the negative effect of inflation? पहले हमें पता होना चाहिए इन्फ्लेशन क्या होता है। इन्फ्लेशन is increase in price rise, that is increase in prices of commodity. Now let's see the option. A, lowering the interest rate. B, increasing the money supply. C, increasing the cash reserve ratio. D, decreasing the government expenditure. Your answer is C, increasing the cash reserve ratio. अब ये कैसे है? जब आपका प्राइस राइज कब होता है? जब पब्लिक के हाथ में मनी सप्लाई ज्यादा होगा। तो हमें किसी तरह से आरबीआई को ये मनी सप्लाई कम करनी है। मनी सप्लाई कैसे कम करेगी? जब बैंक्स कम लोन देंगे, less loan to the people, and that will happen when banks with themselves has lesser money, and that banks have lesser money with themselves and more in RBI vault. So RBI will increase the cash reserve ratio, that is the amount of cash that banks have to keep with the RBI vault. ठीक है, तो वो पैसा अगर इंक्रीज हो जाएगा तो बैंक्स के पास पैसा कम होगा लेंडिंग के लिए। एज अ रिजल्ट योर मनी सप्लाई विल रिड्यूस, एंड मनी सप्लाई रिड्यूस विल रिजल्ट इन द lesser money in the hands of people, and this will reduce the demand for a commodity. As a result, the prices will go down. So your answer is C, increasing the cash reserve ratio. However, increasing the lowering the interest rate and increasing money supply will not help, because that will result in more money in the hands of people. This is all I have explained. That is, RBI may increase the CRR, forcing banks to hold more reserve and lend less, thus reducing the money supply in the economy, curb the inflationary pressures. Moving on, which of the following rounds of negotiation under GATT, that is General Agreement on Trade, led to significant reduction in tariff and was considered a major success? Your answer is C, Uruguay round. This is factual and we have to remember it has been asked earlier with respect to WTO. So we shall know that there was a body called GATT earlier, under which there was Uruguay round of negotiations which concluded in 1994. As a result, in 1995, we have established WTO, and this WTO is an organization which help in reducing the tariffs and the trade barriers. And it also works in the areas of services and intellectual property, so as to have a better trade rules across the world. Moving on the last question, which of the following taxes is considered as a direct tax in India? This is very easy. A, GST, B, income tax, C, excise, D, service tax. So your answer is B, income tax. So the remaining other are your indirect taxes. Your income tax, your corporation tax are both direct taxes. So the direct tax is the tax which is directly levied on the individuals or entities based on their income or the profit. However, the other mentioned taxes like GST, excise and service, these are all indirect taxes. They do not levy directly on the individual's income or their profit. Rather, the burden of such taxes are directly passed on to consumer. So this was all in today's series. Thank you very much.